the home of the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads.
Ho, ho, ho. This is the After Christmas Day special, and it seems like Santa, with his crimson jersey, decided to be very nice to the two Crimson Nations, the two best and greatest Crimson Nations of all time, that being the Alabama Crimson Tide and those Oklahoma Sooners. As Alabama went from third going into the day on early signing period to being number two and flipping quite a few. Oklahoma moved up from 10th to 8th as they signed every single target that they had, which is unheard of usually. Usually you're always going to have that one straggler or somebody that decided to push their signing date back to the late signing period, which I don't understand why they have two. I think it's pretty ignorant. They ought to just have one, but they got two. But the ones that had said they were going to sign early signing day, they did. Now, both teams still have some work to do and maybe get some more in the late signing period. Santa may decide to stick around for a little while in his crimson jersey and be a little more generous to the Oklahoma Sooners and the Alabama Crimson Tide, from what I'm hearing in a lot of recruiting circles. Let's talk about it. They're checking their list. They're checking it twice because their recruiting is twice as nice. The two Crimson Nations are coming to dominate. And the four horsemen shout-outs today go to Big Cajones Kelly, Will Reed, James Stevens, and Darth Iskines are mounted up salad ready to go and help us with this college football invasion once again. And if you want to get deputized like them and get your random four horseman shout outs, possibly be the comment of the day, which is coming later in the show, all you gotta do is join the Outlaw Posse for $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. It's just a little join button next to subscribe button. If you own an Apple phone, you will have to go to your laptop or your computer because Apple phones, for whatever reason, do not mesh with YouTube memberships. And we also have a new posse member that's getting deputized today, and that is Mark Clark. Welcome, Mark Clark, to the Outlaw Posse, as he is now deputized. He's got his badge, and he'll get his random four horseman shout out as well as possibly be the comment of the day. Now, it can also be reached on Twitter, aka X, aka whatever they're going to name it, South African Booty Snatch. I don't know what the name of it's going to be next week. But you can find me on there at OCF Productions, as well as on Facebook under Jesse Paul Clark, JSSE, without the I. Now, getting right to it here. Start off with Alabama. Seems like Alabama. Let me bring y'all up something real quick. A little something from 247 Sports. Share this with y'all. It might get me in trouble, but I'm going to do it anyway. All right, here we go. It says Alabama started National Signing Day with the number 3 class on a pair of flips and a commitment from the top target letter. The Crimson Tide sits comfortably with the number 2 class after the early signing period. He says, we're really pleased with this class, said Saban in his Wednesday press conference. Lots of good players. Got a lot of mid-year guys. I think that's really important in their development. As you move on down here, it says, let's talk about the impressive afternoon for Coach Saban and his staff real quick. It says, within an hour span, the Crimson Tide signed 4-star defensive lineman. I ain't going to be able to pronounce this name. Steve Mawa from Canada, and flipped 4-star Arian Hampton from Texas and Kevin Riley from Miami. I have more in-depth breakdown of how it went down here in the clip. I'm not going to click on that. I think it's behind firewall. It should be noted one of Alabama's signees on Wednesday, top 247 edge rusher Jay Sean Ross from Kansas City, Missouri, committed on Monday night. They also added former 5-star Texas A&M transfer left tackle No, that's a left tackle. L.T. Overton, the number 2 defensive lineman in the transfer portal on Tuesday morning. So, as you can see, Alabama's class ended up picking up a lot of steam there towards the end, and ended up being a pretty banner day from Alabama. You know, Alabama's used to being number 1 recruiting here lately, but I think if you get in the top 10 in recruiting, even the top 15, they're somewhat interchangeable. It comes down to that point. Once you get a top 15 class, it comes down to your coaching staff being able to develop. So you don't always have to always finish in the top 10 or the top 5. I think if you get top 15, if you got a good program in place that knows how to develop talent, then more likely you'll be all right as long as you get in that top 15 each and every year. Now, Oklahoma also finished with a bit of a flourish themselves, and we'll pull that up here for y'all right now. And here's the breakdown from 247 Sports. It says the early signing period has arrived in college football. The world recruiting has seen a large majority of the senior class come to a close. On the first day of early signing period, Oklahoma saw every member of its 2024 class put pen to paper. That means a group ranked inside the top 10 is already officially set to head to Norman after one drama-free day. That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot that you didn't have anybody to flip. You didn't have anybody put off their signing, as I said earlier in the lead-up, to wait until the late signing period. Oklahoma has gotten every single player that they wanted to sign early, sign. So that means that they're going to be here at least 1 year before they can go into the transfer portal. So, like I said, that's highly unusual not to have someone flip or someone to push off their commitment, because Alabama had a few they wanted to sign early, but have decided to wait until February, like Ryan Williams, for example, who's a top 10 receiver that Alabama really covets, that's going to wait until the late signing period to sign, but he is a hard commit to Alabama. Back to Oklahoma here. Really excited, said Oklahoma head coach Brent Venables. We will represent 15 different states as of right now. And wasn't it Colin Coward that said that you can't recruit to Oklahoma? But I wouldn't just Colin. It was it was Linky Boy too. That's right. And it said something about Oklahoma ain't be able to recruit that well because they're such a small state. Well, I don't think 15 states are small. It's just straw grasping and just blatant idiocy and the wanton desire to see Oklahoma fail is all that is from Colin Coward. And he says the majority of those players, almost half the class, coming from the state of Oklahoma and the state of Texas. But really, feel great about the lines of scrimmage we have when it's all said and done with a few of the portal additions. We'll have, give or take, 16 offensive and defensive linemen that will help us gain and will help us again reinforce the trenches where the game's won and lost, said Brent Venables. But you move on down here. It says everyone wants to sign a strong class for obvious reasons, but for Oklahoma, ahead of its move to the Southeastern Conference, will still be a rebuilding program. It was imperative to not only sign talent, but talent at positions of need. That was accomplished with this core, as the Sooners are set to bring in one of the better classes across the SEC. And that's saying a lot. If you can be one of the top 5 or 6 programs in the SEC, you're probably going to be in the top 10, top 15 each and every year nationally. Now, moving on down here. That's some David Stone highlights, but move on down here, and David Stone is originally from the state of Oklahoma. It says right here where it says recruiting background. Stone is originally from the state of Oklahoma. Even before his debut at Dale City, Stone was considered a priority for OU's program. He moved out to Florida to enroll at IMG Academy, which truly led to the intrigue around this process because he got down to the state of Florida, and I guess he liked it a little bit, and he originally committed to Miami, he says right here, in quotes, I can't lie, up until 3 o'clock when Todd Bates called me, it was Miami. I already had the edit made. My family was all for it. I had a conversation with my mom and asked her if it was okay to come back home. Honestly, even at the table, I was going to reach for the Miami hat. I didn't want to play any games with nobody. I am a genuine person. I try to express my feelings the best way I can. Honestly, I was going to pick up the Miami hat because I want my family to be happy. But I had to be selfish. I wanted to go to OU. Well, it says he didn't want to play any games, but when you're switching those hats around a little bit, to me, that is playing a bit of a game there. But nevertheless, David Stone has been a great ambassador for Oklahoma since his decision to possibly choose them or Miami. As you can see, also, I'll bring something else up for y'all in just a second. A nice little clip on David Stone. Let me stop this screen for y'all and bring that one up. There it is. In this post, David Stone Jr., David Stoney Stone Jr., wish I could be there with you, Nigel. This was a clip from Todd Bates on Twitter, X, South African Booty Scratch, whatever it's called. Nigel Smith here doing our counter chase drill, inside move on the offensive line, outside move on the running back, and quarterback step-up practicing, moves on the moves, and being relentless. Basically saying he wished he could be there, putting it out there, helping push Oklahoma, and being a great ambassador for his university. And that's the main thing right here that you have to think about when you're recruiting these players. You can't just go on 4 and 5 stars alone. You got to have a little bit of character and have a talent at evaluating players and not just rely on the transfer portal. Now, getting 1 or 2, maybe even 3 or 4 transfer portal players is fine. Like, Alabama did get 1. But if you continue to try to build your program on transfer portals, not naming any names, but yes, I am, time Deion Sanders, your program is eventually going to fail. It's going to be a glass house, just like my boy Killer Breeze said. And speaking of Killer Breeze, he is the comment of the day. And this comment is in regards to a post that I made in the community tab about Colorado taking Donald Trump off the ballot, because I do that from time to time on there. My program is varied in that I touch on a little bit of everything. And what Killer Breeze said in regards to that was what they did in Colorado should scare the shit out of everyone. The left is openly prosecuting their political opponents, and the best part is that they're telling you that's the same exact reason why you shouldn't vote for Trump, even though he never did that when he was president the first time. And I do mean the first time, because there's a second time coming soon. And that is the comment of the day from, I'd like to pop back in here real quick before I get out of here. I'd like to share the final top 20 rankings for the early signing period of 2024. Class of 2024 goes as follows. Number 1 was Georgia. Number 2, Alabama. Number 3 was Texas. Number 4, Miami. Number 5, Ohio State. Number 6, Oregon. Number 7, Auburn. Number 8, Oklahoma. 9, Florida State. Number 10, Notre Dame. LSU, Clemson, Tennessee, Penn State, Michigan, Florida, Texas A&M, Southern Cal, Nebraska, and the South Carolina Gamecocks round out the top 20 for the 2024 early signing period. Also, if you don't mind, there's a little heart down here with a little money dollar sign in it. Smash that. Throw me a few dollars in the coffers if you want to make a one-time donation to the program. And as I said earlier before, you can also join the Outlaw Posse for $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. That's just a bottle of water. And you'll get your random 4 horseman shout-out as well as possibly be the comment of the day like Killer Breeze was and like those guys earlier were with the random 4 horseman shout-outs. And like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel, The Big Four, and those are all free. And as always, KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.